Did you know that in order for us to be at our best, we need to spend at least a third of our lives asleep, and that it's as vital to our well-being as the food that we eat and the air that we breathe? But our 24-hour culture means we're getting less sleep than ever, increasing our anxiety by 30%, decreasing our ability to focus by 40%, and making us up to 60% more likely to make mistakes than our well-slept colleagues. And for employers, the economic cost is huge, with each sleep-deprived employee costing your company €3,000 annually per employee. In this video, I take you through the 3 simple steps you can take today so that you wake up happy, rested and ready for the day ahead. Hi, my name is Deirdre O'Connor. I'm a sleep therapist, I'm a recovered insomniac, and I'm the creator of the Deep Sleep Rested program, where I teach you the crucial steps that you can take to optimize your sleep time so your mind and your energy levels stay sharp and focused during the day. Now, this is the only sleep therapy program that encompasses the body, the mind, and the important emotional triggers that keep us awake at night. It integrates the psychology of sleep, practical cognitive behavioral interventions, and scientifically proven yoga-based approaches. In this short video that I'm going to share with you, I'm going to give you a little taste of my program and also help you to understand from a scientific perspective how better sleep will help you focus during the day and how many hours of sleep are actually needed, what you can do to improve your sleep, and the steps that you can take. I'm going to share the number 1 and most important thing you can do to get back to sleep if you wake during the night, and also help you understand why you wake up feeling tired, even if you've been asleep for hours. So let's dive in and let's take a look at first of all, at the impacts of not getting enough sleep. You know, despite the fact that every scientific study shows that we need a minimum of 7 to 8 hours nightly, something like 48% of men and 55% of women get 6 hours or less sleep each night. And one standout finding is that a lack of sleep affects the body in the very same way as drinking alcohol does. Researchers found that after 17 hours without sleep, our alertness is similar to the effects of a blood alcohol concentration of 0.1%, which is legally drunk in most places. Now, you might not think that you do that, but actually that's the equivalent of waking up at 7 a.m. and staying up until 1 a.m., which many of us do frequently. And the day after a sleepless night, people often suffer from what's called an insomnia hangover, experiencing heart palpitations, nausea, dizziness, or lightheadedness. And this is because your cortisol levels are disrupted when you don't sleep properly. Now, according to the Sleep Foundation in America, people who are sleep deprived are also more likely to make errors and omissions, as tired employees take more time to react in critical situations, and so may be more likely to make mistakes. Over time, chronic sleep loss increases the risk of serious mental health conditions like anxiety and depression that can make being productive at work even more challenging. Because when you're tired, you just cannot function at your best. You do sleep can help you think more clearly, have quicker reflexes, and focus better. The fact is that when we look at well-rested people, they're operating at a different level than people trying to get by on 1 or 2 hours less nightly sleep. Let's get down to some bare facts and unpack this a little bit. Tired people tend to be less productive at work. 19% less if you get 6 hours. And if you get 5 hours, you are less productive by 29%. That's a huge amount. They're at a much higher risk for traffic accidents, up to 20%, and that's potentially 1 in 5 accidents. And lack of sleep also affects your mood, which can affect how you interact with others. And a symptom of this tiredness caused by anxiety is kind of the brain fog, a kind of a mental fatigue that makes you kind of feel groggy and disorientated and forgetful. And a sleep deficit over time can even put you at greater risk for developing depression. But 75% of those with depression have sleep difficulties. But sleep isn't just essential for the brain. Sleep affects almost every tissue in our body. It affects growth and stress hormones, our immune system, appetite, breathing, blood pressure, and cardiovascular health. Now, the cost of consistently neglecting our sleep is significant, with a 2-hour stretch of sleeping 6 hours a night has the same cognitive effect as going 2 consecutive nights without sleep. These statistics really show us the importance of sleep, and the brain image that I'm going to show you now shows you how important sleep really is. So have a look, with big ups and downs in your brain functioning depending on how much you get, even in everyday situations. So if you see these two slides side by side, you'll see that there's vast differences in how the brain is firing. Professor Adrian Owen, who's a British neuroscientist, has put this down. This is the scientific exploration, that there's much more activity in the frontal and parietal lobes. These areas we know are crucial for decision making and problem solving and for our memory. There is so much that we can do to help us to sleep better. And in this next exercise that I take you through, it's just a short little snippet of some of what I share with my clients. So this is a cognitive behavioural therapy technique. And it's the one that I use often with clients that find when they go to bed, like they're so full of things they can't switch off. So it's really effective and calming and quietens the mind. So if you find that when bedtime comes you have too many thoughts still clamouring for your attention, a pre-bed brain dump can really help. And if you're one of those people, like I used to be, who lies down for bed and then starts making mental lists of all the many things that you meant to do but didn't, and the things that you want to do and hope to remember, and possibly a list of all the things that you're somehow failing by not doing all of the things already, then a brain dump can help to quiet that noise. And it works if you do it just prior to bed. It works just a bit better if you do it a little bit earlier in the evening. But no matter when you get to it, the idea is that you just kind of get all of that stuff that's swirling inside in your brain onto paper. Now, what I recommend, that rather than typing it, is that you think about just using, old-fashioned paper and pen, and because we're more likely to keep going rather than looking for the quick hit and then getting distracted by moving on to the next thing. Things that are related to work, to our personal lives, our family, things that might be health related that you might be finding difficult. Or finances, of course, can also wake us up. Or we might be thinking of deadlines that you've got to get to, or shopping, or foods and meals that we have to cook. There's so much that we're usually thinking about. Could be around people to contact or ideas that we have. So none of this is bad, but it's just coming at the wrong time. And, while these categories, they're super general, but it's just to get you thinking that if you sit down to do a brain dump, and your brain, of course, will decide to climb up first. And what we want to do is just go in and get our pen and paper, and not think about even what we're doing. So while your brain is happy to throw all these things at you, when you finally get quiet at the end of the day, it doesn't like to interfere when you're actively doing stuff. And that's why this works, this making a list. So even now, perhaps as you're sitting here with me, could you take some time just to sit for a few minutes and just think about what might go on your list. And you'll find that your brain will be really happy to tell you all of the things at once. Let's slow it down a little bit. So what is the most important thing that you need to kind of put on this list? And just write it down right now. Yeah. And when you've done that, just kind of write a couple of lines about how you feel about this thing, how it might be impacting you, how it's affecting you. Yeah. So we really want to take the time here. And it only needs to be a few words, a few sentences. It can be as short as annoyed gotta do this, don't want to do this, brain packed, over anxious. That's lows already. That's so much already. So just keep on slowing it down. Now maybe writing something else. So we don't want to just write out the list because we've all done that. But think of something, personal in your life, maybe a conversation that you're having that is upsetting you. Could you just write that down? Write the name of the person. Yeah. And write not the story of what's happening, but how you actually feel about it. How do you actually feel about it? And do you feel upset in some way? Anxious? Do you kind of feel you're always getting yourself in these situations that nothing ever goes right? Maybe there's judgments about how you could have done it. So just let them kind of pour out so that your brain can empty out and your nervous system can settle. You can give as much time as you like for this practice, but then when you're doing it again, you might like to take more time. But right now, could you just go on to one other thing that's on your list? Just choose one other thing. And it could be a project, it could be something that you'd like to bring to the next team meeting, for instance. And sometimes our projects and our ideas for work, they can override our frontal brain, they can override our capacity for awareness, for mindfulness. So just take a break here and a breath here. Yeah. And just take a moment and just write 1 or 2 words down around how this makes you feel. And be real about it. Nobody else is going to see it. This is just your list. How does it make you feel? What are you anxious about in this? What are the thoughts that are running around in your head? Now keep this really succinct and short and real. So as we write it down, kind of letting the brain know it doesn't have to hold it anymore. So keep on writing, keep your pen moving on the paper. Alright. And then just let it go. Let it go. You can tear up your paper, you can burn it, you can keep it, whatever you like. But just sit back on your chair, the sofa, wherever you are. And just notice, even after that short little practice, has anything changed for you? Has your brain maybe quietened down just a little bit? Sometimes we feel a little bit relieved when we actually name what we're with. And then putting the piece of paper aside so that you're really letting your brain know, okay, I don't have to worry about this right now. I'm moving into sleep mode, into quietening down mode. So thank you so much for watching along with me. And if you found this short video thought-provoking, please reach out to the Work Happy team who can guide you to my online and in-person sleep therapy trainings and help your staff stay happy and well rested, focused and productive. It really is possible.